Yeah, it's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the...
We're live. What's up, y'all? How you guys doing? Hope you're having an absolutely amazing evening and a great start to your new year. For those of y'all that are new, welcome to the Pre-PT Grind platform. My name is 𝙎𝙧𝙚-𝙧𝙚. I'm a physical therapist. I have my amazing guest, Dr. Laurn Davison. And Laurn is a PT student who was once a pre-PT like all of you. And what you're tuning into is what has become my favorite series that we do. Our job at Pre-PT Grind is to help y'all get into PT school. That's what we do. But what we did, and we started this last year, is we started this series where we bring in students that have been part of our coaching program. If you can't tell, it's on my sweater, ironically, and behind me, the accepted system. And these are students that have gotten accepted into PT school. They've all been through a lot of the same struggles that you might be experiencing. Some of the students that we brought in have been rejected from multiple schools. Some have had extremely low GPAs and basically have been able to show you, yo, like, even though I was in that place, even though I was in a certain headspace and doubted myself, I was able to navigate through. And so we do this because we want you to, like, we assume that at some point you'll relate with somebody that we bring on, or you'll be able to learn something from the different students that come on, so that your dream of becoming a PT stays real. Like, I don't want you to think that it's some dream that might never happen. I want you to see that it actually is real and there's a way to do it. So tune in and enjoy. But Laurn, how you feeling?
Great.
I
Can't complain.
I love it. Well, we're going to dive in. Super excited for this. And let's start with the first question, and then we'll dive in, because for those of y'all that are listening, the reason why this is cool is because we talk about the good and the bad. I think a lot of times when students get into PT school, it's very easy to be like, all right, you can do it, yay, rah, rah. But we're going to talk about the moments where it did not feel as possible. So we'll get there. That's question number 2. But question number 1 for you, Laurn, is why physical therapy? What drew you to the profession to begin with? And then we'll dive in from there.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. And welcome to the accepted system. This will be like a key part of your pre-PT journey. And so good for you for joining in on this amazing system. My name is Laurn, like Joseph said, spelled a little bit differently, but pronounced the same way you typically would spell Laurn. But for me, PT started at a young age. My father's a personal trainer and he owns his own gym. And so he's had the gym for about now over 20 years. And I just knew at an earlier stage that I wanted to do more than personal training. Like, I wanted to be part of the rehabilitation process. So more than just strength training, but helping someone who maybe injured themselves and getting back to a healthier position where they're, able to walk and whatnot. So to be honest, I've always dreamt of being a PT since I was younger. Yeah, because with my father's influence. So yeah.
Wow, that's not something I hear all the time. Like, typically, it's like, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. But wow, so you really wanted to be a physical therapist.
Yes.
And be in this profession for the majority of your life, right?
Right.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So you've always known you wanted to be a PT. Let's dive into the second question. What were your biggest roadblocks or obstacles as a pre-PT prior to getting accepted into PT school?
Yeah, like many, to be honest, failure and rejection. That stuff hurts so bad. So for me, my biggest thing was failure and just fear of being rejected, like many, but you just cannot let that stop you. I was just so worried about, well, what if this person doesn't like me? What if I don't get accepted? But you just have to act, so.
Yeah, no, that's a big deal. So why were you so afraid of failure? Had you experienced some of it before, or was it just more so from hearing other students' stories? What was it for you?
Well, whenever you're thinking about taking something on as like PT school and applying for anything, even just applying for a job, you worry about, what if they don't like me, or what if I don't fit that position? So just not being adequate enough for whatever school or whatever program out, far as physical therapy, but just being afraid of rejection.
Big deal. Yeah. So for those of y'all that are listening right now, it's like, if it hasn't been made clear, all of these things are common. Like,
right.
I want us to normalize the fact that all of us struggle in different ways, whether that's the fear of putting all our hard work into applying to PT school. Man, what if it doesn't work out for me? Like, what if I do so much and it just doesn't add up? It doesn't fall in place. It doesn't, come together. And for you, it was a dream that had started when you were so young. So it's like, wow, like what if this dream that I've been holding on to since I was a kid, like, what if I get to that point and I apply and things just do not go my way? Like it doesn't, and then now basically I'm having to, look for plan Bs, which is hard. Like I've never had a dream that long. Like as long as you're saying, like for your entire life, like I've never had an ambition for that long. So I can only imagine how difficult that is to be like, yo, like,
something that really stuck with me in the process, and I believe you said it, and you said to eliminate plan B. Ooh. Eliminate plan B. There's only one plan, and that's plan A, So having a backup plan, that does not work, So focusing on plan A and doing what you got to do to get to, achieving that plan.
You got it. Wow. I love it. So what led you to then figure out and say, okay, I need some help, right? Because you joined our coaching program, the Accepted System. What led you to look for some guidance, some non-traditional coaching from elsewhere? What pulled you to do that?
Yeah. So was it fall 2019, I applied for a self-collegist hybrid DPT program. And I ended up getting waitlisted to the program. And I had only applied to one school. And so I was, of course, upset, feeling discouraged, and honestly didn't have a backup plan because I knew this is what I wanted to do and just trying to figure out, how to get there. So roll around to 2020, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It was Easter Sunday, and I remember I saw on Facebook there was an ad or something like that had explained the Accepted System and the role that it plays in you getting accepted. And so I messaged, I believe, Joseph, and I had set up an appointment. And so that was Easter Sunday. So that following Monday we had an appointment, and it seriously changed my life, and it gave me another level of confidence that like I can do this. So for me, it was a step that I knew that I had to take because I needed some extra guidance. I needed someone who was where I needed to be. So with me being guided by PTs, that really helped me. I think it's important that we also acknowledge that if you're in a room with people who are just like you or who are not, more successful, or who, aren't someone that, that you see yourself being, that you're probably in the wrong room. So for me, I was in the wrong room with the crowd that I was surrounding myself with. So for me, having the Accepted System was a different level of community, people that were doing, it sounds horrible to say better than me, but we're where I want it to be, So I chose the Accepted System, and that was literally all she wrote. And still to this day, I'm extremely thankful for everything.
Oh, wow. So tell us more, because some students listening aren't familiar with how the Accepted System actually helps you, right? Because they've heard about it. They're like, oh, it's some coaching program, whatever. So for you specifically, don't explain how it works. Just more so for you, like, how did it specifically help you? Like when you were in the program, like how did it change or shift how you approached your application process to really prepare you so that when you applied again in 2020, you were able to now be in the position you are now as a PT student? So how did it help you specifically? And then after that, we're going to dive into how you got accepted into PT school, the big day and all that stuff, which is always fun. But how did the Accepted System program help you like on your specific journey?
Yeah, for one, community, having people to help keep me accountable. So having your partner that you check in with weekly, and having someone keep you accountable, and even the GRE code. So my biggest thing was my GRE score. So having the GRE code really helped me. There were certain things that I didn't even know about, as far as like my diet, you know, like how that all plays a role in it. And then far as like the PTCAS application itself, little bitty things that I skipped over in 2019, Joseph, you know, and Casey were like, no, you got to go back and you got to fill that out, or you got to change this, this, and that. And just having, you know, the accepted system to edit my stuff, to look over it, and making sure that, you know, it's, you know, it was good to go before I submitted it. So, and also having a coach who's, you know, who was in, or who is in PT school, and having that guidance and, you know, and ways to connect with the school, that was my biggest thing. And Joseph and Casey, they stress this all the time, and it's very important that you all understand that reaching out to the schools, you know, it's essentially like dating, you know, tailor yourself to where, you know, not only it's a partnership for you, but for them, like show them what you have to offer. And that was my biggest takeaway, and I think really pushed me and then to get to where I am now with, you know, what I was offered. But we'll get into that.
Oh, we will.
So,
but I love it. I absolutely love it. And for those of y'all watching live, I'm actually going to touch on that point in a training that we're doing on Sunday. And if you have not signed up, if you're listening to this before January 17th, we're doing a masterclass. It's a free masterclass where we're going to teach you really the key pillars and elements that students that have been in our coaching program or are in our coaching program have done differently to really help them get into PT school. And so if you haven't signed up for it, go to leveluptheprept.com. If you are listening to this after the 17th, it's not there. but if you're listening to this before the 17th, go to leveluptheprept.com. And I'm actually going to touch on that part about like that interaction with schools, because those are some of the things that we're not taught as pre-PT. So go reserve your seat, and we got you there. But I
reserve your seat, because that really helps me.
Just go reserve your seat, y'all. Go reserve your seat. But for you, like, first of all, thank you for addressing that. But two, let's go to the day you got accepted into PT school, because after the first cycle of applying to one school, being waitlisted, it not working out in your favor, and then of course now going at it again and saying, okay, I have the support I need, I have the team I need, I'm able to apply. You finally get to the end of this hard-earned journey that you have been get your first acceptance letter. Tell us about that day. And the reason why I love asking this question is because, like, for a lot of students, they feel like that day is like a hope. It's like, I hope I get there. I hope I get accepted into school, instead of seeing it as like a real concrete day that will happen if they just don't quit. And so I wanted to kind of live vicariously through you. So tell us about the day you got accepted. Like, how'd you find out? What were your feelings?
So I'll talk about the school that I got accepted, the one that I'm attending now, because I got accepted into. Okay, so the head of admissions, he called me, we'll say Friday night. Well, let's say Thursday night. And I didn't realize he called me, but he left a voicemail, and he was like, hey, Lauren, you know, I just want to go over your application. Can you call me as soon as you get the message? So I checked my phone Friday morning, and I checked that voicemail, and I decided to call. So I called early in the morning. It was probably 7 o'clock my time. So it was like 8 o'clock their time in Boston. He's like, hey, Lauren, you know, just want to check in and see how you're doing. And I wanted to, you know, kind of review your application with you. And I was like, okay, cool. And he's like, well, I just wanted to offer you a position in our 2022 cohort. And by this time, I'm like screaming and praising the Lord. I'm like, thank you, Jesus, you know, but just kind of like had like a little mini praise break, because like you just don't know until you just get there, you know. Only thing I could think of, I mean, if I'm just being honest, my reaction was just thank God, you know, just thanking him, because man, there were times where I just felt so low and so just at just a dark point in my life, and because, you know, my previous rejection. And whenever he told me that, like, I was just ecstatic, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. And he's like, well, the next steps are for you to log on. And he gave me the website, and he's like, and you can accept your seat and then pay your deposit. And I was like, I'll be willingly paying my deposit. So, and that was my top choice was Tufts University. And so, it, yeah, it's just, I still smile this day. It's just an indescribable moment. It was just, I was crying, yet I was happy. Like, I just didn't even know, like, it just felt like, man, I did it. I did it, you know?
Wow, 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 wow. Man, first of all, you earned every bit of the acceptance. And you know, I almost wish I found out like that on a call, you know, because I feel like the anticipation is very different than when you see
Yeah.
it, you know, through an email or a letter. But super, super proud of you. And for those of y'all listening, like that day is real. Like that day is real for every single one of you. And the reason why you're probably listening to this is because you might be looking for some hope or some direction or some inspiration or just some guidance where you're like, yo, like, how do I do it? Like, how do I get there? And the first step is realizing that that day exists. Laurn, if we had gone to 2019 when things hadn't gone so well with that one school, like how easy was it to accept that, oh, that day was guaranteed? Like, wasn't it hard at first? It
was very hard.
Yeah.
You know, you feel that like guilt and shame, like, because I knew for me, it was my GRE score, because that was my main thing that stuck out. And I asked the admissions, I was like, you know, what isn't? And she was explaining it was my score. So the GRE code helped with me raising that score. And also, I too want to add that I actually got accepted into that program this year. So I was able to pick. So
wow.
Yeah.
But doesn't that feel good where you're like,
oh, it feels amazing.
Y'all said no to me last year. Y'all said no to me last year, but hey, check it out. Because y'all rejected me, I'm gonna reject y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's kind of how that went.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Wow. What a moment. What a, like, it came full circle. But that wouldn't have happened if you had quit.
Exactly.
And I think, like, that's why this is so important, because as a student, y'all just got to realize the only way you don't get into PT school is if you quit, right?
Exactly.
We quit because other people have planted doubts. We quit because we don't know what to do next. We quit, you know, all these different reasons. And so just don't quit. Don't pull the plug. Start asking different questions. Who do I need to have in my circle? Kind of like what Lauren was saying. What do I not understand? It's the GRE. Okay, who can help me navigate through that? And so if you start asking different questions like that, oh man.
You know, and I need to mention too, like you and Casey both push this a lot, which is speaking things into existence, you know, calling yourself, you know, Dr. X, Y, or Z, you know, like I will be a physical therapist. Like that is so important. And it's such it's a staple in your pre-PT journey. Like you need to start envisioning yourself as a PT or as a PT student. It's very important. And I like that you guys do that. Because you know, kind of, you have to build confidence in order to say that. So speaking things into existence is very important. Very, very important.
Wow. Yeah, no, I still have to do it to this day, you know, and so that doesn't stop, you know, and, you know, when we started this, I called you Doc, right? I was like, hey, Doc, how you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop, but you earned it. You've already also earned the future DPT degree that you're going to get now because you're already in PT school. So absolutely amazing. Let's wrap it up with this. What's your advice for students that right now might be students who are feeling how you felt a year ago? I mean, look back at January 2020. You know, you were in a position where, you know, things were not going in your favor. You were kind of in that slump. This was before, I mean, we hadn't even gotten to Easter. So like, think of the headspace you were in a year ago. What would you say to yourself if you could go back in time? And the reason why I love asking this question is because somebody listening right now is at that point. Maybe they've already gotten their rejection letter from this cycle, or they're waitlisted and they don't know, oh man, like, I don't know if it's going to work out, or they haven't applied it and they're just scared that they're going to get rejected when they apply this next cycle, or their GPA is too low, or GRE, or whatever. Like, what would you say to get yourself to keep moving? If you, now knowing that a year later you're in PT school, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to go back, like if you went back to pour life into yourself? Because somebody listening is that version of you and they would love to hear what you have to say.
Right. First, growth is uncomfortable. You're going to be put in some uncomfortable situations, but just know that's going to ultimately grow you into the person, the pre-PT or the SPT, student physical therapist, that you need to be. And secondly, it just slipped my mind. Give me 1 second, because it's growth and Joseph, I completely forgot my other point.
Happens to me all the time. That's usually where I point to Casey and I say, hey, Casey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
That's my secret, Casey, by the way. It's how I deflect when I forget something. Think about it for a second.
Yes, I'm trying to think about it, because it was I can't even, it just slipped my mind. It just went right out of my mind. It was growth and shoot.
What else?
I've got so many other things in my brain, but it was growth and being put in uncomfortable situations. And what was your question again? Maybe it'll help me.
What piece of advice would you give yourself? So if you were to talk to yourself from a year ago, where you were in just your low point after a cycle that had not led to an acceptance cycle.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, boom, look at that.
Yes. Sometimes rejection can be your biggest blessing. So yes, just because you're rejected does not mean that you won't be accepted. So rejection could be your biggest blessing. It may not make sense now, but in the future, like, you can look back and reflect on things and you're like, okay, that's why that happened. So just because you're rejected, that does not mean that you're not going to be a PT. Don't stop, because that can ultimately be your biggest blessing, is rejection.
I got another mic to drop.
That's funny.
I got another one.
That's so true, because I have a quick example.
Yeah, sure.
There was a program that I wanted to apply to, and I believe it's some college in Omaha, Nebraska. It's a College of St. Mary. I'm not even for sure where they're at as far as their accreditation, but at the time that I was going to apply, they were in the pre-accreditation stages. So they weren't fully accredited. And one of the stipulations to apply to their program is that your prerequisite courses had to have been completed within, I think, 5 years or something like that. And I had 2 courses that were completed outside of those 5 years, which I had never really heard that with the type of program that I was applying to. But they pretty much told me that I had to retake these 2 courses and that I wouldn't even be considered as an applicant even if I applied, because my courses were out of date. And so I was so upset, and because I had submitted an application and they told me this after the fact. And so that was like a pre-rejection for me, like me being rejected. And now, like, what I'm set up with now in the college that I'm attending now, like, I could not, think of any other better situation. And so I say that to say that with me being rejected at College of St. Mary and now being set up at Tufts, like, in the moment I was so upset and so wrapped up about being rejected there that I couldn't see, what else might be in store for me. So just because you're rejected in a program or whatever it is, don't give up, and it could ultimately be your biggest blessing. So yeah.
Wow. I have zero to add to that. And in the moment, it doesn't feel like it, but that's powerful in itself. Your job, though, for those of y'all listening to this, your job is just to keep moving.
Right.
Because when you get your rejections, when you kind of hit your walls, and our walls look different as pre-PTs. When you hit your wall, it's easy to be like, I guess this isn't for me. I guess I should, pick a different profession. I guess I should listen to what my advisor said and do whatever other path, but no, like, just keep moving. Just keep moving. All Laurn did last year, she just kept moving. She was like, okay, I need some guidance. Like, who can I find?
Yeah.
And it just led to her, working with us. But for you, that's how you keep your dream alive. But you have you have to remember that that dream is real. It was planted in your mind and your heart for a reason. And the obstacles are also part of what makes you who you are too.
Right.
And, you know, there's when we go through obstacles, there's a part of us that really, it goes back to growth too. There's a part of us that just like grows. There's a part of us that becomes more resilient. There is a sense of increased gratitude. Like now with that in mind, Lauren, I'm pretty sure you might have more obstacles down the line that you'll probably be grateful for in the moment. Now you'll be like, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? This isn't going the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
But you know, I've seen this before. I've been in a position where I've had things not go my way in the moment, but looking back, it was a massive blessing. Yeah. So now you start becoming more grateful for your hardships in the moment. You start becoming grateful for your low GPA because it's going to pull out a different version of you when you become resilient and retake classes or find the right schools and whatnot. You're going to become grateful for your struggles with the GRE because it's going to allow you to meet certain people that will be pivotal in your career. And had you not struggled with that, you would have never met them. You're going to love the fact that you're having a hard time, you know, maybe 2 cycles ago, you didn't get into PT school because it forced you to say, yo, like, I need to take a step back. I need to figure out, like, am I making my decisions based off of other people? Or am I making my decisions based off of what I need? And when y'all can do that, oh my goodness, you become more resilient at every single stage of life. Because this is life. Like, y'all want a life that's perfect, go watch a movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what
and
to
you've got to you've got to be willing to put that work in too. It's in the title, grind, pre-PT grind. You've got to put the work in. Like that's, you know, you can get all the application and all the information they're giving you guys, but you've got to put the work in. Boom. So yeah.
That's it, y'all. Man, Lauren, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening. For the people that want to ask you more questions and they're like, hey, Lauren, check it out. I listened to your interview. I would love to follow you or ask you more questions or find out more about your story and all the other details. Where can the people follow you or find you?
Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Laurn_SPT. So it's my first name, LAURN_SPT. So, and that's it. Or you can message me on Facebook. I will respond because I know that I was in your shoes at one point in time. So I'm willing to give you advice. Just reach out to me.
I love it. I love it. Lauren, thank you so much. For those of y'all that are here live, thank you guys for joining us tonight. For those of y'all listening on podcast or YouTube, thank y'all for listening to this as well. And if you're listening to this once again before January 17th, go to leveluptheprept.com. Save a seat for our free acceptance masterclass. I think we're just under 1,000 students that have registered for it already, which I've never seen that number before. So it's crazy. So go save your seat and learn with several hundred other students this weekend. And if you're listening to this after the 17th of January, then go to acceptancenavigator.com and we will help you out there, help you get unstuck, help you get on the path to acceptance. Y'all have a
You won't regret it. You won't regret it.
I love it. I love it. Much love, y'all. You guys have a great one. We will talk soon. And we also have another interview tomorrow night. So tune in tomorrow night, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Y'all have a good one. Bye.